hints at my lack of belief in intercession, of like lottery wins or the grace of God or any of these sorts of things. And this, you learn these little life lessons as you go along, and one of them is that when you feel that when you're challenged by something really big in your life, and suddenly something like this happens, you can't deny that there's a form of intercession going on. And there's, I've always been a person that has viewed myself as being kind of existent in a solitude, and that I didn't have that many external connections. And this has really proved me wrong. Vancouver 4 years ago. I'd lived here as a child for a while, but I came here thinking, I don't know anybody. This is wonderful. I can go and read and see what the response is. And I'm just blown away by how many wonderful connections and supportive people I've met. I could stand here for the rest of my set and name people in the audience and not in the audience that are really powerful and influential people in my life now. There's people here, 2 of my 3 daughters are here, friends from 20, 30 years ago are here, there's people from Nelson here, there's 2 members, plus the musician from a poetry performance band in the early 1990s, which was, as far as I'm concerned, was way in advance of almost anything that's going on now. But we had a little group called the Corn Beast Choir, and one of us is over there, and the other's over there, and the third one couldn't make it. But just a wonderful feeling for me, and I should give you a little bit of the... A lot of the reason for this is I developed a cancer, and fortunately it was discovered really quickly. My doctor put me, I had early work in an asbestos mine when I was a teenager, so I qualified for a UBC asbestos exposure study, and almost instantly they found a small tumor in my upper left lung, and they wouldn't have found it by the normal techniques outside of the study. And so almost instantly again, I had one of the best thoracic surgeons in the province who managed to extract it as just a wedge and left a portion of that lobe. But then in a further advanced study, they found 2 more tumors on the other side of my lungs. They're so small that now they're going to be watching them CT scan every 2 months. And if they expand, then they'll have to remove those. But I was told that by ordinary standards, going through the ordinary medical system, because I was breathing normally and relatively healthy, walking a lot, that they wouldn't have found these in the next 3 months, and I would have been dead in 18 months if they hadn't found them. So I was very fortunate. My doctor referred me to it just out of the blue, this study, and so I felt again there was a lot of intercession there, because if normal chest x-rays and things wouldn't have found this. So. And I've met some great people in the hospital. My nurse worked 12 hours a day, and she was just this wonderful nurse, and really focused and always there. And finally we got talking personally after about 3 or 4 days, and she'd been in Canada from near Beijing for the last 12 years. And I asked her what her real dream was in her life, and she said, "Oh, I would just like a couple of chickens like I had when I was a child." I just thought, that's like all of us in our heart, we're still children. Like I work in a daycare, and I'm kind of going on here, but this impressed me as well, is there is a kind of difference between genders. I think boys feel a lot but don't say much. And when I went back to the daycare after the surgery and my first day back, all the kids had seen the poster for this event that talked about cancer. And I was met at the door by a delegation of about 10 girls from 7 to 9 years old. And we had basically a seminar where we discussed cancer and implications for some time. And then they all marched off spontaneously, and they got embroidery thread and beads, and they made me all these healing little trinkets that they put on. And this one is it's put together with Scotch tape. And I'm never allowed to take it off. So it was really quite wonderful. And the boys were off playing Lego in the corner, and one came up to me later and asked about the robotic arm that they put into my side to get the cancer out. So anyways, this is wonderful, and I thank you all, and I'm incredibly honored. It's just beautiful to see so many people from my past and from my current life, and I just feel incredibly good about all of this. Yay. Poems, and unlike others, I'm not going to be very experimental. I sort of stuck standard poems. This is when Randy held an event in the Cosmic Zoo a couple of years ago, and I attended, and I got a song from, I forget the name of the band, Just a Girl was the name of the song. No Doubt. And I ended up writing this poem for the event, and had a lot of time, a good time reading it. Just a Girl. When my grandmother raised a daughter and a neighbor's leftover son during the decade-long Great Depression outside Pilot Mound, Manitoba, without a cent, but with a green garden and some chickens, a sewing needle, lived in a 10-by-10 wooden shed, sheltered from dust by a windbreak of rattling trees she'd planted. The stuttering wind called, "She's just a girl." When I was 3, and my drunken father tumbled in from work all sweat and anger, called my mom chattel, called her cooking crap, choked her with his stony fists, and my grandmother, visiting, emerged from the other room, tiny as a worn fence post, struck back, reached up, and gently tapped him on his shoulder. Surprised, he turned, and she sent an uppercut into his eye, blackening it from socket to drop jaw. Down he sat and wept in a chair, bad boy corrected, and always humble in her presence ever after, because she was just a girl. When my youngest daughter at 2.5 disappeared from the barbecue party and sent the neighborhood searching the road and vast forests above us, calling out, "Emma, Emma, Emma." The police were called, came to join the search, and then I found her sitting like a tiny Rodin sculpture on a rock deep in the drapes of Emily Carr's forest. She looked up and said, "Dad, leave me alone, I'm thinking." And she was just a girl. And my other daughter with children and suicide husbands and trailer court woes rose up and juggled it all by herself, battled a different kind of depressed world, just a girl covering her beauty in a warrior face. My eldest daughter, tiny and delicate, sparred with men for a year in a Kelowna gym and fought the first professional boxing match between women in BC live on BC TV, just to make sure the BC Women's Boxing Federation could occur. Puffed up on the front page, a giant purple grape, she never fought again, securing sports territory she won for other women, then left for Japan to learn the perfect arrangement of flowers, just a girl. When I meditate and see the love of women surrounding me, grandmothers, mothers, daughters, and lovers, the greatest value and security, the best memories and lessons at this juncture in my lengthening life, when I hear their voices, their deepest care, their patient resistance to weaker male fear, I swear they're all just girls, all around the girly world. Everything here comes from them, and everything returns to the mother again. And she's just a girl, in pink or blue or you, or sitting next to you, just a bindi in a yantra, just the ruler of all tantra. All the men like muddy water caught in the hoofprint of a cow, and compared, just a girl, all oceans and seas, now in dance with grandmother moon, just a girl while we breathe, who lifts us up in our death, who delivers us each life to breath, just a girl. Om Krim Kali Kai Aman, just a girl. Om Krim Kali Kai Aman, just a girl. Om Krim Kali Kai Aman, just a girl. Kali, Kali, Kali.